Hello, welcome. Hello to everybody. We are here to discuss about the need for cooperation in an era that everything is changing. Mr. Minister Stavros Papastavrou couldn't make it because he was stuck in a meeting. So we have here with us Deputy Minister of Energy of Bulgaria, Mrs. Eva Petrova. So, today our region, and indeed our world, is facing a rapidly changing energy and geopolitical landscape. Energy independence, efficiency, and security are no longer just technical questions of infrastructure or supply, they are deeper aspects of political stability. The war in Ukraine, volatility in global energy markets, and the acceleration of the green transition have shown us that energy policy is inseparable from broader questions of security and prosperity. What was once seen as a domestic or sectoral issue is now very much a matter of collective strategy, cooperation, and solidarity. So, with that in mind, I'm delighted to welcome you again and to begin our discussion on how we can reframe global energy cooperation in this new strategic context. A very good example of cooperation and need for cooperation is the project of Vertical Gas Corridor, a project that it is anticipated as very important from all the governments of the region, and they say that it could be a game changer for regional energy security. I would like to ask you, why you think it's so important, that project, and what are the biggest challenges this project must overcome to succeed?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would just like to thank Ioana for making this setup, which is really much needed, seen for open and trusted exchanges on these priority issues that we are facing today. Indeed, the vertical gas corridor is a game changer because, as you pointed out, under the current geopolitical tensions and market disruptions, diversification of gas supply sources and routes as a source of energy and regional stability is an imperative priority for us, for the policymakers, and also for the whole economy. The vertical gas corridor in itself is an initiative that actually changes and turns out the regional energy dynamics with an impact on Europeans' resilience, market integration, and also opening up the access to new reliable sources of gas supplies. What I think, the vertical gas corridor is a new strategic route for LNG supplies for the whole Central and Southeastern European region, starting from Greece and then leveraging on existing infrastructure. Of course, the key is the FSRU in Alexandroupolis, but also it is based on repurposing and utilizing the Trans-Balkan pipeline in a reverse flow, which actually puts specific challenges to the vertical gas corridor. As initiative, it includes 7 countries, which actually requires a more complex technical and political exchanges. And of course, the heart of this is the strong regional cooperation that already exists in our region to deal with these strategic priorities. Another challenge, of course, is time. We need this solution as soon as possible and available to the market. And in this respect, I should point out that, of course, there are some technical challenges. You know, Bulgaria is advancing on the vertical gas corridor on our territory. We are advancing on the Kulata-Kresna section. That is basically an investment that will increase by 50% the entry capacity from Greece to Bulgaria. And by the end of this month, we will show the progress on Vetrino-Rupce, that's the other section of the vertical gas corridor that will almost double the capacity towards Romania. Of course, there are some technical challenges which are common for such type of complex infrastructures, like river crossings, need to make it fit within other existing infrastructures like roads, railroads, and so on, but these are manageable. And building on existing infrastructure actually puts the initiative within a more also complex regulatory and market environment, because there are legacy contracts, there are some market entrenchment, if I can say, because it's a game changer. I mean, it's the main way to substitute Russian gas supplies for the wider region, and this makes it a focus of more stable, the need for more stable regulatory and political decisions. I think the Repower EU regulation that is currently on the desk,
Is
it's
it a
a
problem,
clear
the price?
political.
The price of the gas is a reason that increase the difficulties. I mean, the price of the gas from the vertical gas corridor could be competitive.
That's also another point. I mean, we should take the proper technical, political, regulatory decisions to make it competitive and usable, and to make it cost-efficient road for the new gas supplies.
What kind of decision could help?
On the tariffs, on the
tariffs.
yes, on the operation, on the capacity booking, and so on.
Another important part of the problem is the imports of Russian gas, that now it's very competitive in the market. Do you believe Europe's strategy to completely phase out imports of Russian gas will succeed? And does this raise the risk of energy cost skyrocketing?
You know, Bulgaria, we have a clear position on phasing out Russian gas supplies, and this position is derived from 2 points. One is, of course, we are consuming gas, and we want to have reliable, stable, and affordable gas supplies for our consumers. And when it comes to Russian gas supplies to Bulgarian market, as you all know, back in 2022, our incumbent company, Bulgargas, was put into this situation to phase out Russian gas from their portfolio, which they did. And what we learned is that to be successful into such a change, you need strong regional cooperation. We couldn't do it if we didn't have the cooperation with Greece, if we didn't have the cooperation and trusted partnership with Azerbaijan, which actually made us do it. What is the other focus is, of course, the transmission, because Bulgaria has a very well interconnected transmission grid, and basically we have been, and we want to be a trusted transit country, and that is why we are having in our position a focus on maximum utilization of the existing infrastructure. And I think what we do and what we are committed is to implement the necessary changes in the way the infrastructure is operated and usable. And the vertical gas corridor is an excellent example of such repurposing of infrastructure.
So you're not afraid of the cost, energy cost, if the Russian gas is phased out? You think that it can be overpassed?
Yes, it's not.
It's
not an issue to be afraid. It's an issue to manage, to find solutions.
The energy cost is a problem for all the countries of the region, especially in electricity. And we can see that there is a persistent imbalance in electricity costs between Southeast Europe and Central Europe. Do you believe there is a way to overcome this gap, and what kind of cooperation or policy changes would you propose?
Indeed, since mid last year, we have this upward push on energy prices in the region, and it's quite a defined regional problem that we are having. Again, to tackle this problem, the three ministers, Minister of Greece, Minister of Bulgaria, and Minister of Romania, went together to find solutions on this problem. As a result, the issue is in focus also at the European dialogue, at the CESEC format. We have a lot of exchanges with the European Commission. Also with the colleagues, we did a little bit of deep dive on the reasons for this situation with the prices. Of course, there are objective factors like changing the supply side, I mean, within the overall transition process, having a changed demand profile due to external factors. But what we find out also as a key root of this problem is actually bottleneck in the interconnectivity between our
So
region and the rest.
you need
So
investment in
we need, yes, we need to improve and to work on the
grids.
interconnectivity in grids. And especially in Bulgaria, what we find out as an immediate response to this situation is actually enabling some public support schemes to shield consumers from the energy prices. Both, of course, when it comes to energy prices, first at hand is households, but also for industry. Now, for example, we just proposed a support scheme that is for public consultation, consistent with the clean industry state aid framework that basically will provide for support for the energy prices for the energy intensive industry.
Only for industry?
Energy intensive industry, yes, that will have also, however, an obligation to invest part of the support received in decarbonization, energy efficiency, transformation of consumption, because this is also the other way to tackle high energy prices.
Yes, investment is the key word if we want to reduce the energy cost. Investment in grids, but investment in renewables too. So could you outline the scale and focus of Bulgaria planned investments in renewables, in nuclear energy, or in natural gas power generation? And explain us the priorities of the energy mix. How do you imagine your energy mix in 10 years?
We have been consistent in our strategy regarding the energy mix and its transition to achieve net zero. First priority is maximum utilization of local renewable energy sources. Of course, in the case of Bulgaria, these are hydro, solar, wind, geothermal in the future. If you look at the ambition, 2020 compared to 2030, for example, we should have 4 times increase in the installed photovoltaics in terms of capacities. We are also seeing the continuous role of the nuclear energy in the transition process, and when it comes to nuclear energy, we are focused on safe operation of the nuclear units that are in the system, but we also have a pipeline of 2 new units, in total 2 gigawatts installed capacities to be in the system by 2035-2040. We are also, currently we started also to look at the SMR option. So this is now at the feasibility stage, just to identify possible sites, just to see what are the technologies and take the decisions. In terms of grids, as my colleagues in the previous panel, they pointed out, I think it is a shared investment priority to have future-proof grids. This means interconnected, scaled up in capacities. So we are also investing a lot in digitalization of the transmission grids in cooperation between the TSO and DSO in order to enable close to real-time exchange of information that is key for renewables, but also prosumers, energy communities, and so on. And just a last priority for investments is actually the storage. We are expecting 10,000 megawatt hours of battery storages to be in the system by mid-2026. These are investments supported with over billion leva under the RRF. And we have a pipeline of 4 gigawatt new pumped hydro storage facilities that will be opened for public-private partnerships, which is also a huge investment focus considering the transition priorities.
You have foreign investors in Bulgarian energy and Greek investors there?
Yes.
You have in energy?
Yes, we have in energy. The Bulgarian and the Greek investors in this transition process, what we see is that they are looking at the regional landscape. We have a lot of projects that we support that are developed by the private sector. I mean, we support, for example, the Gregi project that is developed by Greek companies. We are also having a lot of Greek companies showing interest into the renewable sector of Bulgaria. And as I said, for example, I think a very interesting case is the pumped hydro storage that will be open for public-private partnerships, so investors could also use this option.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Petrova. We are finished. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.